He said that his vice was women, and that's why God didn't bless him with a wife, and that Jontay's vice was gambling, and that's why he didn't bless him with money.
Where do I want to start?
So Michael Porter Jr. has been on a very interesting press run over the last couple of days in which he's getting really candid about sports betting, specifically the things that happened with his brother Jontay. I don't know if anyone asked him to talk about this, but I don't think he's making Jontay's case better. Rodney, did you catch any of this?
Yeah, I listened to all of the Michael Porter clips that have been floating around because it's funny as hell. I don't know what he on. Brooklyn Michael Porter Jr. is very different. In addition to talking about the gambling, so let's start what he said about the gambling. Okay,
I had the quote here. Okay, so he says, think about it. If you can get all of your homies rich by telling them to bet 10K on my under this one game, I'm going to act like I got an injury and they all get a little bag. Some people come from nothing. On the other podcast, he said that his vice was women, and that's why God didn't bless him with a wife, and that Jontay's vice was gambling, and that's why he didn't bless him with money.
Where do I want to start? I would start. Let's start with the second one. Okay, let's start with the latter.
Okay.
So, bro was on a podcast and was talking about his faith and was talking about himself and his brother. And he was like, my brother didn't have the problem of getting women because he couldn't, right? So that wasn't his vice. His vice was gambling. But then he also was like, my brother was broke, so he had to gamble because he was saying I was blessed with money because I could handle that. But he was like, my brother, he had to gamble and he didn't have any women. So he was throwing his brother under the bus while making himself look like, I just got too many hoes, bro. Like, it's so hard for me to exist in this life without worrying about these women. Now, I'll be honest, as somebody who does have faith and does consider himself a Christian, I feel like I understood the essence of what Michael Porter Jr. was saying, but he just may not be the best orator, and he's still developing his lexicon. So he just was struggling, I think, to say something smart and that didn't throw his brother under the bus and have his brother looking crazy.
Yeah, he did. It was almost like he was trying to make not light of the situation, but he was trying to kind of give perspective on maybe why his brother was doing this. But I'm like, sir, the things that your brother was accused of.
He wanted to go deep.
I don't even know if that was even necessary. And then if we go back to the first thing that I talked about where he's like, you can get, some of your homeboys to bet 10K. Sir, what? Like, you just spilled out the whole operation. I don't think that you, just shut up, Michael, please.
So this is what happens when you have a league full of upper middle class individuals, right? There's a certain code of conduct that previous generations were able to abide by because they came from an environment that forced you to know when to shut up. I've told you before, every man should be punched in the face at least one time. And because a lot of these players now come from really, really good families, because basketball is an upper middle to wealthy sport now, there are people who do not know the code of conduct, which is why you end up with situations like the D'Angelo Russell locker room situation, the situation in Philadelphia last year when somebody was spilling the beans about what was going on behind closed doors. There is a new kind of man that exists in the NBA. And fortunately or unfortunately, I think it's pluses and minuses on both ends of the spectrum. You get moments like this where people just say things, and because they don't know how to shut up, they ain't been taught the power of shutting up. Because in the social media era, it's like it's dope to share everything.
And obviously, you talk about all this money that you have, Michael. You have to have a PR team. You have to have someone setting up these interviews for you to do.
No, you don't. I think he's going rogue. I think he's going rogue. I don't think he's not on no real platform. The platform? I haven't even seen what the platform is.
Hold on, let me see. Full Court Pass. I haven't heard of them before.
So this is my point. He's not doing Club 520. He's not on Gil's Arena. He's not making the round. He's not on All the Smoke. And so, this is a guy who was traded from the Denver Nuggets to the Brooklyn Nets this offseason, and nobody's really heard from him other than these clips. So it's like, oh, he's doing this on his own accord, by his own volition. I don't think he has any PR.
Do you think that there's something going on over there?
Yeah, you know what? I think he's going through a process of self-discovery. And sometimes it's a little rough, it's a little prickly when you do that. It's kind of reminding me of like Kyrie Irving early on, when Kai was really, really going through the process of letting the world know who he was, and in real time maybe didn't articulate himself to the clearest or best of his abilities. And then now we see who Kyrie is today, right? Kyrie, not only is he back to being one of the faces of the league, he also is a streamer. People want to hear and see what Kyrie's talking about. But for Michael Porter Jr., I just feel like he is just on a mission and the journey of self-discovery and has not yet landed the plane on where he will be. But all of these things are good. These are all things that I think bode well for somebody who wants to live a more enlightened existence. So I'm not even gonna clown him on that front. Why are you making that face? What you think about Michael Porter Jr.? You over here, what you think about the situation?
I just don't think that he's very smart. I just feel like if you were born with more common sense, then you wouldn't say what you're saying.
But why not though? He's right though. There are the possibility exists. All he did was speak, so we all know that it exists, right? He ain't said nothing crazy.
He did. He laid out the whole operation, Rodney. That is crazy. You just get get a few of your homeboys to bet $10K on the under. You pretend like you sick or you're injured, and then everybody makes some money. That's the whole operation. Now people probably looking at you. But if that's getting investigated.
No, he's saying I didn't have to do that. He's talking about the underworld that does exist, the opportunity to do something like that. He wasn't saying it because I feel like he knew somebody was doing it. He was just saying like the integration of gambling into his brother
very well
did something different. It wasn't
and
that.
He was with
that
the
wasn't
mob,
his brother's
and
play.
It was just.
I wanted to cut him a little bit more slack. I thought he might have been a little bit younger than he actually is, and maybe his frontal lobe was still in the process of developing. But he is 27, and so his frontal lobe is solidified. It does not, to me, appear that this young man, because he is still a young man, is unintelligent. He is just on a journey of trying to just express and understand himself. And those two things, when you do them in real time in the public, can look messy. Me at 27, oh man, you wouldn't. The things that came out of my mouth, oh my God, it was crazy.
Again, he does have the money, so he needs to have a better team around him, helping him. Because I don't think that these interviews are helping himself, and I don't think that they're helping his brother.
Yeah, saying your brother ain't got no money or no women is crazy. But
exactly.
And I'm about to go to prison. I'm about to go sit down for a minute. Like, dang, bro, I got to be in front of the TV. I got to be in the day room talking about, all of my flaws and such.
Right. And he was also throwing out other names. Like, he threw out Malik Beasley. I'm like,
oh, did he?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that part. Oh, nah. He wildin'.
He did. Yeah, so he said, obviously, my brother is in his situation. Malik Beasley is going through his situation. Terry Rozier is in hot water. But the whole sports gambling thing is only going to get worse. And we really do get death threats. You can't win anymore because if I do too good, I'm messing with people who bet on the under. And if they bet my over, so you're always messing up some people's money.
He right, though. And I think Kevin Durant has said this a lot. Like, we don't care about your parlay, bro. Like I think Kevin Durant literally said your parlay. But yeah, there are people out there who gamble the way people in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s play the stock market. Like there's a scenario in which more people are invested in gambling and online gambling than there are even in the stock market, because the returns are sometimes more immediate, but also there's a thrill and a rush of it. So yeah, like, and when in these times, especially, people say wild things, especially behind these keyboards and computer screens and phone screens. And so he right, but
the problem is you can be upset about that, but then when you have people who are doing it themselves, aka your brother, then it just looks real bad.
Yeah. Tricky situation. You all let us know your thoughts on Michael Porter Jr.'s recent press run. Do you feel like he should sit down and be quiet, or is this just a matter of him having a little bit of self-expression? And also, what do you think the league can do to combat the potential situation of players gambling on themselves? It's tricky out here, man. Let us know in the comment section all of your thoughts and feelings.
And please go check out our newsletter. It is jam-packed with all of the latest sports happenings. It is in the link in our bio.
She said jam-packed.
Bye.